So I've been thinking, right, about shapeshifters in movies, TV shows, books, and anime. I've begun to notice this trend while thinking about them, where depending on how the shapeshifter in question acts, it is how the audience will tend to view them, either with positive or negative emotions. Perfect example, in Encanto, Camille, right, can shapeshift and everyone loves him for it, because he is shown to be a very benign shapeshifter, only using his power to help others. But when we talk about, say, Mystique from X-Men, people tend to write her off as a villain from the word go because she uses her powers for her own gains and often for the gains of the other anti-human mutants she works with. Notice how the people, right, pigeonhole them because of how the power is used, and it usually is how they put shapeshifters into the story is how the audience tends to view them, but like, why? I don't mean to sound like I'm stupid, and honestly I don't know. I know why, but I mean, why? Why does every shapeshifter have to be pigeonholed into good or bad? Hear me out, right? Cosplayers are shapeshifters. I have seen a full-grown woman turn into a 50-year-old man in one video transition, and I was honestly confused for a hot second because I could not tell if she was a woman cosplaying a man or a man cosplaying a woman, and I did not care if it was either one. I was impressed and a little jealous, not gonna lie. I was a jelly bean for a second. But shapeshifters should impress us because it's one thing to look like someone else, but it is something else entirely to be the person they are pretending to be with such accuracy that everyone around them cannot tell the real from a fake. This is why I'm here today in defense of Himiko Toga. Spoilers ahead, you cheeseburgers, because this is what we're going into. So Himiko Toga, right, is a major antagonist of the My Hero Academia manga and anime series. She's a member of the League of Villains affiliated with the Vanguard Action Squad, which, in all honesty, I had to double check if that was a thing, because I'm very unobservant when it comes to, like, fancy names for stuff, but that's a thing, I'm sorry. Back to what I was saying. So Himiko served as one of the main antagonists of the Forest Training Camp arc, and she's also featured as an antagonist during the Provisional Hero License exam and the Shiheseki arcs, respectively. She later became one of the 9 lieutenants of the Paranormal Liberation Front, an organization formed from the remnants of the League and the Meta Liberation Army after the Liberation War, and she's currently at Arch, which, by the way, 9 lieutenants? How big is your army if you've got 9? They don't ever say it, but they show it, and alright, I'll give it to you, but 9 seems excessive. Anyway, other than that tangent, right, because I asked my friend group once, what would you do if you had the power to shapeshift into anyone? Do you know what they said? They said they wanted to shapeshift into famous people and go get free stuff by pretending to be them, and I laughed because, really, that sounds super basic. When I got older, right, because that was a question posed in high school. When I got older, I had this conversation with one of my older coworkers, and they said pretty much the same thing. And then my mom took it to Hiroshima real quick, and she said she would be the best hitman in the world because no one would ever find her or be able to pin her down with the ability to shapeshift. We went from petty crime to serial murder real quick, but I'm gonna let you know right now, that is the most honest answers I think I've ever gotten when I've asked this question. So who among us has not wanted, to get free stuff just because we ask, or kill someone without having to go to jail because, hey, maybe they had it coming? Shapeshifting sounds cool to us as kids, and as kids we want to do petty things because we are petty as children, right? The pettiness knows no bounds. But when we grow up, we get meaner and we get better at playing out our elaborate fantasies inside of our heads. Like the argument you lost a week ago, but in your head you keep replaying it until you can win it. That's exactly what I'm talking about, but back to Toga. Toga is not yet an adult, so her use of her powers is very much what someone who knows how to use their powers would act, which tells me she's a very, very smart individual, even though she's a very cheerful girl to the point of smiling even after having presumably killed somebody and displaying sadistic tendencies. This continues even when danger is imminent, as shown when Shigaraki was about to attack her, but it tends to stop when she's bored or annoyed, and man, that's a mood. Himiko is frequently seen blushing, seemingly out of excitement rather than embarrassment, giving her a permanent look of what appears to be lovesickness on her face. However, she's shown that she can easily be embarrassed, such as when she thinks people are coming onto her, or when she's naked when copying the clothes of the people she has transformed into. She's actually really courageous too, or at the very least confident, when she uses her ability to shapeshift, even impersonating an aspiring hero and taking part in an exam that gathered multiple students of heroics, and pro heroes were also at this event. She was shown a comedic and childlike demeanor when faced with different situations, such as when she was with Twice or when she attempted to insult Mimic. Also, another tangent on this. Dear Rudy, my editor, I know Himiko is your favorite, so that's why this is a defense video. I'm gonna count this as your fucking birthday present without actually sending you something, because I have to actually buy you that. But that's for me to know and you to find out when you listen to this. On with the video. Like most of her allies, Himiko has stated that she finds life to be difficult for the current world and wants to make it an easier place to live in. She looks up to Stain and sees him as her role model, declaring a desire to kill and become him, preferably because she can literally become him. In stark contrast to her maniacal nature, Himiko has shown a very supportive side as she comforted a distraught Twice, knowing he feels the most responsible for causing Mange's death and covering a part of his ripped mask to prevent him from splitting. By extension, she's shown to care greatly about her comrades and was enraged enough by Mange's death that she wanted to kill Overhaul and his men as payback, which, yeah, you ever met a girl who's super mad that her friend is not in her life anymore? That should scare anybody. Toga's very much human despite what everyone keeps telling me or like making TikToks about or weird fanfictions about. Ease up, guys. This is as deep as a cereal spoon and you all need to calm down, like for real. Toga's written like a teenage girl who knows what she wants and how to get it. Even if she's so stupid about it, I can't fault her for that. She's prone to mood swings. When she finds a target, or, well, not even a target, it's more like a yandere fixation, mainly Izuku, which I do not get. Like, honestly, girl, you could do so much better than the socially anxious boy. She's loud and really cheerful. However, when someone gets in between her and her target of affection, she shows a very cold, angered, and annoyed expression, instantly switching priorities to kill whoever the nuisance is. In the past, Himiko was noted by her family and former classmates to be a cheerful and reasonable, well-mannered girl, woohoo, whose subsequent turn to a life of crime surprised everyone who knew her. However, her own recollection implies that this was merely an act she put on to try and fit in with what society deemed, #normal. She believes the way she acts presently is her own normal. Reed Estro theorizes that her twisted personality came off as a result of her quirk being blood-related, thus prompting a natural inclination towards it, and by proxy her non-normal behavior, which was later emphasized due to societal norms. Which, no, I'm gonna call bull honky on this. If you have to drink blood for any reason at all, then I feel like the thing you really have to worry about is what you might catch from somebody else. AIDS or HIV being the biggest worry, but also hepatitis or even human T-cell human T-cell lymphothorpic virus. Anything else that might go wrong with you is small potatoes compared to what you might catch if you drink the wrong blood. This girl is either fearless or has just never thought about that at all, and I don't know which scares me more. Because despite her psychotic personality and violent habits, it appears that Himiko does in fact possess some standards, such as she was greatly shocked and upset when Twice was killed during the Paranormal Liberation War, which would be, I think, this upcoming season 5. So, following her murderous rampage to avenge her comrade and dear friend, she questioned if the heroes didn't view Twice as a person if they are meant to save people. Which also brings up another theory that I feel like I should also make a video on. Memo to me, make a video on that. Anyway, Himiko also appears curious and even somewhat fearful as to what would happen to her if she was caught and went to Uravity to inquire about this, although the latter's answer to apprehending the young villainess didn't answer the question at all. Himiko seems to wonder if the heroes plan to kill her like they did with Twice. Do you see what I mean? Toga, who would be a wonderful asset to have on your side, got roped into being the bad guy because she chose to go with them. Now hear me out. Is she crazy? Oh yeah, for sure. She's crazy. But if Toga had been allowed to use her power as she saw fit, as often as she wanted to, prior to all of this, right? The war and the liberation pool, what would she be like? I'm gonna tell you, she'd be a badass. Himiko is an exceptionally talented and dangerous combatant who's not only capable of contending with pro heroes in close quarters, right, but is a master of disguise, infiltration, and stealth, mostly due to her shapeshifting quirk. But with espionage being one of her most prominent traits, holding her breath and clearing her mind allows Himiko to erase her presence and allegedly vanish from her enemy's view. This ability isn't limited to ambushes, as it can't be used in combat as well, and disappearing if the opponent averts their attention from her, even for an instant. And despite lacking a quirk that amplifies her combat abilities, Himiko effectively utilizes her incredible agility, reflexes, and acrobatic skills. She's also adept at creating openings to conceal herself, such as intentionally forcing an opponent to dodge, right? Like, I'm gonna make you dodge, that way I have a minute to get out, because I can't win this fight with any kind of clarity. So, make them dodge, disappear. During the Vanguard action, Squad Invasion, which, dear anime, why are your arc titles so weird? Himiko was able to ambush Uraka and Tsuyu, slightly injuring the former before easily pinning the latter to a tree. Which, you know, a frog and a girl that can take out gravity? Yeah, I'll give you, the frog was easy, gravity might be hard. Even though she was overpowered by Ochako's gunhead martial arts, Himiko was able to secure a blood sample from the gravity hero, release herself, and make a hasty retreat due to the arrival of Izuku, Shoto Todoroki, and Meizo Shoji. And for those of you who don't know who Meizo Shoji is, he's the guy with all the arms. 5 minutes later, she nearly stabs a battle-worn Izuku twice while successfully tackling him to the ground, but she was swiftly repelled by Mezio. In the course of the Kamino incident, Himiko, along with Twice and Mr. Compress, forced Katsuki Bakugo on the defensive before he was rescued by his classmate, and the League of Villains were transported away by All for One. Later on, Himiko, under the guise of Kami, proved to be a contender in the Provisional Hero License exam, in spite of its strict competition, given she was able to employ sneak attacks to blindside Izuku, one of UA High School's most powerful students, and passed the first phase without needing it to be her priority. Himiko's abilities garnered the attention of Overhaul, who wanted her to play a role in the upcoming Shihiseki raid. When the raid started, she was able to defeat the pro hero Rocklock and temporarily misdirect the rest of the Night Eye squad before revealing herself. Himiko used her swiftness to surprise Izuku with knife attacks and then use Eraserhead's capture weapon against the pro hero by rolling herself in it and stabbing him in the shoulder when she got in close, all because Eraser could not restrain her. Did you hear me? Aizawa himself got stabbed by a 17-year-old girl in a skirt. A pro hero, a man twice her age and with twice her experience, got stabbed before he could restrain her. That right there is crazy. That tells me that Toga is very good at fighting up close and personal all the time, because no matter who you are, one good stab wound in the right place means game over. And all I can think of is, Among Us, right? There's an imposter among us, but we don't know who. Toga would be the imposter, because if you can change into anybody, in theory, you could frame somebody else for the murder of whoever you're trying to, off. But, that's just my opinion, and my opinion isn't really worth anything, but I'm gonna do it anyway. During her fight with Curious and her soldiers, Himiko's quirk underwent an awakening, giving her the ability to use the quirks of the people into whom she's transformed, something that she was previously incapable of doing, which speaks of evolution, right? If you keep using something long enough and it proves effective, it'll begin to be the predominant thing that your body tries to prioritize, like divers that know how to hold their breath for a long time, like just diving without the air tanks. Their body prioritizes that because it's something you do often, so we're gonna learn how to hold our breath longer and longer because it's good. Anyway, although Himiko can use other people's quirks if she is fascinated by that person and holds that person close to her heart, she must have sufficient information on their power. This girl went from a 7 out of a 10 on you need to be careful all the way up to an 11 in the course of one fight because she refused to die. So here's the defense, okay? I cannot, for the life of me, figure out why everyone has a bug down their bra about this girl. I think she's neat, but in my own defense, I hang out with crazy people all the time, so maybe I'm biased. Toga's written to fit a mold, and damn does she do it. Toga, as it stands, is a very dangerous villain, but if she had been a hero, oh boy, she would have been a pro almost as quickly as Hawks. Which, memo to me, do a Hawks video. Anywho, Toga is a wonderful character, and all of you on this you don't like Toga because of some stupid reason need to calm down. Toga's a badass, and that's all you need to remember. So with that, I thank you all for showing up again. Thank you to Rudy. I'll leave all my socials down below, and I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye!